said he had a knack for reviews. He's the hungry ferret.
Hey everybody, so today we're going to take a look at the 1 liter digital variable temperature gooseneck kettle from Bonavita. I wanted to try out a new kettle. The reason is because I want to precisely control the temperature of my brew. The temperature of the brew will affect the taste greatly. If you have bitter coffee, you could try using a cooler temperature. If you have sour coffee, you could try using a hotter temperature. Generally, a lighter roast will need a higher temperature than a dark roast. Big highlights about this kettle is that it has adjustable temperature, real-time display, it has a gooseneck, and none of the water touches the plastic. Let's take a look inside. You have the manual. The directions for this are pretty simple. It's mostly warnings. You have the base, the kettle itself and the cap, and some packaging. It's nice that they don't use styrofoam. Here's the base, and you notice that there's a cover on it. At first I thought it was just wrapping, but it actually has function to it. I'll come back to that in a second. The buttons work through the cover, and they're nice touch buttons. The bottom has nice strong rubbery feet and a groove to store your cord. It's a nice touch. But it could be a little difficult with the tag. Now the cover is used to protect the base from water. Since it's commercial rated, they recommend in a commercial environment to use the cover. This will prevent moisture and water seepage into the base. Here's the cap. It has a slightly different color, so the inside is not coated with stainless steel. The edges are nice and smooth. And here's the kettle itself. Let's start with the bottom. It's not sealed, so you can't submerge it in water. A slightly cosmetic thing. If you look at the metal, it's not completely smooth. There is some slight warping in shaping the kettle. They did a good job with the welding of the gooseneck. It doesn't seem to be poorly done. The top of the opening is rolled. There's no sharp edges. The handle is plastic, and it does have a knuckle guard for you. You don't have to worry about grazing your knuckles against the kettle. Let's take a look at the inside of the kettle. The temperature probe is on the bottom. The inside is finished with stainless steel. The water exit hole is also on the bottom of the kettle. On their website, you could buy restrictors for a very low price. There's a plastic piece on the inside, but you'll notice that it's above the max fill line, so you don't have to worry about it touching the water. I tested the real-time temperature. It's fairly accurate compared to my thermometer. I recorded the time it took to reach the interval temperatures. These temperatures may be key for some people. And it took about 6 minutes to reach 205 degrees with 1 liter of water. This is a fairly reasonable amount of time. This is okay. This gives you plenty of time to set up everything. You have an on button. If you hit the temp set, you could cycle through the intervals. There's 4 main settings. The minus and plus will let you adjust the target temperature. Pressing the hold will hold the target temperature. You also have a Fahrenheit and Celsius button, so you can flip back and forth. Now, if you want to use the timer, all you have to do is just lift up the kettle and hit the plus button. When you put the kettle back down, it'll stop the timer. I kind of wish it didn't reset when you put it back, but that's the way it is on this kettle. The gooseneck on this kettle is very good. I can very accurately control my pour. I can start a very slow stream, and also I can speed up the stream. They do sell restrictors, so it should make it easier to pour. One complaint I had initially was that the kettle top was too tight, but I found out that you could adjust these tabs to make it easier. So you use something like a screwdriver and push it in. And after that, it became much easier. I found the cover might be a good idea. Often when I lift up the kettle, I do notice that there's water on the base. Now let's make a cup. And start rinsing the filter. You could tell a very light roast, so that's why I used a high temperature. Then I went in for the initial bloom. After the bloom, we pour to the proper ratio of water to coffee. This kettle makes pour over coffee a lot easier to make. Since some of it is automatic, it does make the steps easier. Having the variable temperature is actually important. I was able to taste the difference between a high temperature brewing and a low temperature brewing. It's definitely dependent on beans and what you need with that. For the ease of use, I highly recommend this if you can afford it. If you need to get a replacement kettle, I highly recommend this one. When you get a chance, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.